What's up, everyone? It's time for 15-10. We've got the white pieces against somebody rated 1449 from Egypt. Anna Moshkela. This is a 6-10, and we have ourselves a Sicilian. So I'm going to show you this British Grand Prix that I've been playing recently. So the traditional Sicilian Grand Prix, which is a nice, relatively straightforward way to meet the Sicilian without getting into loads and loads of theory. It traditionally starts with a closed Sicilian, knight c3, and then you generally try and swap off this light squared bishop for black's queen's knight if it ever comes to here, particularly if the d pawn has moved. However, the British approach for the British Grand Prix starts with, continues with bishop e2, just saying I'm going to forget about this, I'm just going to focus on rapid development, get my pawns out, get my knight on f3, get my queen to e1. So it's very much a similar setup. It just kind of feels accelerated, and we're forgetting about this bishop for now because the queen can still come round to one of these squares. But we'll go through it. The other great thing as well is because you haven't put your knight on c3, it gives you the option of playing pawn c3 at some point, which can be helpful because of this horse, right? So you might want to push your pawn to c3. Opponent is taking a wee bit of time. Had a really good Chess Bootcamp live session yesterday for my monthly session. So we did, in the first hour, we did a Puzzle Rush Survival and got to 40, I think 40. And that was including one that was a mouse slit. We actually got it wrong on the final move. I got it wrong. And then on the for the second hour, we did a bunch of games. Some against humans, some against bots. And ended up in a really interesting one. Okay, so here we have a queen face-off, but because my bishop is on e2, this now, I don't think this much favours black. Let's have a look. I mean, it is a kind of disintegration of the Grand Prix setup. In white's favour, obviously, I have this good control over the 5th rank. Black, however, has a development lead. So black is attacking this pawn right now, which I can defend with my knight. I can also defend it with bishop f3. But my knight might want to go to there, and I'm not too concerned, am I, about this pawn coming up. Another alternative could actually have been the immediate e5. Didn't really even consider that idea. But e5, kicking the night away. But e5 is still on. I've got an over-the-board game tonight as well. It's another one against Sheffield Def A. So my last game against Sheffield Def was at home at the Red Lion in Brimington, and I won my game. I think we won the match relatively easily. Trying to remember how the game went. Yeah, I can't remember. Can't remember what happened there. It's probably on the on my study. So I'm thinking now, knight f3. It's a bit of an odd move, isn't it? And I do have this. Let's think through pawn e5. So this is the key to getting better, right? It's if I do this, what's going to happen? Well, the knight could go there or there and get eaten. So that's not going to work. Okay, here, knight comes here, gets eaten. My knight takes. Here, knight comes here, gets eaten by my knight. Right, so this is a classic thing. You know, the thing is, these opposing knights obviously look at the same two central squares, so you can almost just like shortcut that idea. And so where's it going to go? Can't go there, can't go there. If I hit that knight, it's got to go back, has it not? So can this be a bad thing? Yes, I'm losing control a bit over this square. But I am hitting black a bit where it hurts, because black's only real advantage here was this piece to... Oh, hello. Right, miscalculated slightly there, because he does have control over this square. All right, now let's have a think. I can kick him again. I mean, right now I've still got the option of Kick him again. Where's he going to go? Right? Let's do this again. Let's do it properly this time. Okay? He can't go there because of rook. Can't go there because of king. Can't go there because of bishop. Can't go there because of pawn. Can't go there because of pawn. That's his only option. So I vote we kick him again. Let's go again. We also have an idea of knight d5, knight c7 with a fork on king and rook. Okay. Now, I mean, g4 is something to think about. g4 prevents the knight from coming here, also prevents the bishop from coming here, because my c2 pawn could be a liability at some point. Knight f3 doesn't really help in that regard and actually blocks off my bishop slightly. But, I mean, is black going to try and re-centralize this knight as a priority? Or are they going to try and get this bishop out and short castle? Long castles is out for black. We can pretty much ignore that idea. So what if I was black? So let's do flip the board. I've got the black pieces. I'm not castling this way. I'm going to want to get this bishop out. e6 looks okay because the bishop defends this. So maybe like e6, bishop e7, something like that, castles. But this knight is already looking embarrassed. Now, let's think about this move, and then suddenly my knight has nowhere to go. This may come, which is an argument in favor of developing my king's knight. Now, if I do this, and then they bring their knight in here, I'm not worried about this square, or this square really. Okay, let's play this move. Hit X again and put the board back around the right way. It's a neat trick to do that. Well, why not do it? It's so easy when you're playing in 2D, in pixels. It's even something that people do in real life over the board. You can stand up, you can walk around the other side of the board and have a look at the field of play from you. And wow! He's long castled. Well, bugger me. Okay, undefended. Let's do a bit of goldfishing. Defended, technically defended. Okay, everything apart from this pawn is undefended, so I'm thinking I want to develop my bishops. I'm thinking they want to go here and here. Okay, now, are we concerned about this? If I put my bishop here and my knight here, is that good? Does that work? Knight here first and bishop here. This pawn's going to come out at some point. He's not going to want to fianchetto his bishop on g7 because it's looking at the pawn there, right? Is there any tactics? Let's develop this bishop and just have a sniff, not there. Sniff around this pawn, yeah? I'll be happy, I think, to see b6. I think bishop there is okay, knight here is okay, long castles. Don't disconnect. What's that about? Don't disconnect. Interestingly, in other news, I've been going back to an area of a weakness for me, which has been the Black Mardima. As my stock response to the Scandinavian, we might just show you just a little bit of that. If this guy disappears, he's got a minute, but it looks like he's actually disconnected. I hope it's not just I hope he's not quit. Hopefully it's just a temporary connection thing. But this is my general plan, right? Get castled. What if I get the same player tonight? That'd be good. It's only happened once so far that I've played the same. Okay, he's come back. He's come back. That's good. Alrighty. So what was I talking about? Yeah, Black Mardima and the von Poppel Gambit, which I've been playing wrong, it appears. Decided to catch a little bit of Jonathan Schrantz last night before going to sleep and reviewed his von Poppel video. And there's a move, queen e2. Okay, here we go. So, right, he's thinking about developing this bishop. Now, right now, the bishop can't come here. And this isn't the smartest place for that bishop to go. If I can block this pawn off, then that would definitely hamper his bishop's plans in the game. He's also defending the pawn, by the way, with his bishop. So my thought is to continue developing. My knight, of course, can come to either of these squares, as can the bishop. So the question is, which way round do we want to do it? Here is slightly more kind of aggressive because it's closer to the king, rather than this diagonal, which is a bit weaker, maybe. Here, defends that pawn. That looks fine. Remember, there's no queens on the board, so the situation is slightly safer. Now, I would very much like to castle my king, because if this bishop moves, but it does only have one square, which is a poor square, then... Okay. Right, well, I think castles makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to think too hard about that. Takes, knight takes, means I've completed development. Opponent is still a little bit... I mean, this knight is crap, man. That is what is known as a shit horse. Okay, so we have one attacker on here, one defender. This is... so let's... we make that orange, yeah? This one's undefended. We've got some tension on the open file. I'd still like to stick something in this hole, as they say in France. Okay, so maybe knight d2, knight c4, and then that might come with a nice thing. So maybe, I mean, this knight right now, it's not a quality horse. It's not a shit like that one. That one's really, that is a horse shit horse. But this move, yeah, really taking advantage of the fact that I've got this vanguard pawn in my opponent's half of the board, and lo and behold, the bishop wants to get out and join the fun. Now, where's it going to go? Now, you might be tempted like to push g5, but if I push g5, I lose control over this square, and what's going to happen? That knight's going to drop straight into that. So that's a very kind of beginnery mistake, where you think, oh, look, it's an attack, it's got to be a good thing. Well, no, not if you gift your opponent an improvement. So I think let's flip the knight over. The bishop can only really come to this square, and it's like, well done. What's the point in that? Do you know what I mean? I could always slam my knight back in there and say, go on, get back, straight back to where you came from, you bishop, right? Okay, so this is a one-dimensional attack. Is having a look at my rook. Now I could block with either knight on e4, or I can move the rook. So these two pawns are potentially slightly weak. I mean, this one's defended. This one is defended only by the bishop right now. So I could, for example, do this. Then they could slam their bishop in there, actually. And this is a fork on rook and pawn. So a completely alternative idea could be rook h2, with the idea of playing my knight here and then double up ski. Let's do that. I'm on 10 minutes 05. Opponent's got 11 minutes. Oh, he's playing quite quickly though as well, isn't he? Okay, now my thought is here knight to d2 to c4 anyway. Then if he takes it, I capture with the knight. And I've got eyes on the forking square there, forking both rooks. I've got eyes on the bishop, which will really mess up his pawns. I'm okay with this. And now if he pushes there, I can push g5, right? And the point is he's got a pawn on here, so the knight doesn't have that square anymore. If he wants to do this, I'll do this. We block up the king side of the board. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take with the king straight away. This is definitely a move. And the king just comes back. I could have thought about king e2, which at this point in the game maybe isn't a bad idea. Okay, now I'm taking with a knight, 100%. Okay, still, crap knight on the corner of the board. Also, I'm attacking this bishop, and I'm thinking that might be a good trade. If this pawn comes here. Yeah, and my bishop's looking at this, it's looking at this, this is defended only by that, you know. Again, I've got to resist any temptation to push g5. It's more about hold the space. All right, this is interesting. So I have an option of takes. This bishop defends that, okay. It is a bishopy board. Principles say trade. Yeah, and I could invite this rook out. My hunch is this is a kind of critical position, so... Oh, he's having a sniff there, but it is defended. Also, my rook is off the back rank right now. Is rook d2 an idea? So bishop ain't going to take there now because the knight defends, yeah? So one idea is rook d2. Threatening to take. I don't know. I think his problem was that he's yeah, he didn't want to lose the bishop there. If I take, I'm going to go ahead and take. I haven't figured it all out. Okay, pawns took. Now here puts two attackers on here, only one defender. But here I'm likely to get this, and that really does actually hamper my bishop right now. Could even push f5. f5, the knight can't actually go there. I'm not attacking him. Well, I'm attacking him with the bishop. f5, but that also opens up... Well, in fact, both of us have only got a dark squared bishop now, so it kind of opens up routes for both of us. Here and pushes. I'll be forced to kind of come back around here, or maybe this, you know. Rook d2. I want to keep my bishop on the board. If I can trade my knight for his bishop, I think that's, again, principle-wise, it's a good thing. And the reason is because both sides have pawns on the edges of the board, both edges of the board. And in an instance like that, you want high-speed pieces that can cross the board and cover, like, promotions pretty easily. Say I take out this knight, I get in here, I attack the rook. I could win a pawn then on h6. But again, that's doing what I just said I didn't want to do, which is to trade my bishop off. I'd rather trade off his bishop. Question is this rook. This rook's doing nothing right now. So if I come along here, let's say he pushes, I come back. Feels like my rook wants to be on one of these squares, really. This is a completely open file. So rook at e2, is that a thought? Bishop can come around here defending this. Yeah, let's play rook e2. If he wants to overextend there, I think that's fine. Okay, we're ready for this. 7.5 minutes though. Push, I'll just take with the knight. And still we are just holding this horse at bay. Okay. Huh. Now if I just move my knight away, there's a threat for pawn fork, eh? If I do this and he pushes, I can take... so what he's doing is he's kind of threatening the defender of this square. Okay, let's think this through. Let's use our special tactic of thinking. Here, pawn goes forward. I take, rook takes. Should I have put my rook on d2? Although I just kind of allow him to take here, I take there. The knight still can't go to either of these squares. The knight can only kind of retreat. I'm inclined to allow him to take here. I think I'd like to encourage that. But then I would probably want to recapture the rook, yeah? Get my rook active. Try and get it onto the 7th rank. So, how do we do this? Do I just like move my bishop here, maybe? Which is what I said I might want to do anyway. But if this pawn moves, actually, this pawn would hang. So I might leave the bishop there even. Okay, I'm just going to play a waiting move and see if he's really serious about taking there. If takes, maybe rook takes. This pawn comes forward. I can even just block the pawn off. Yeah, I'm thinking rook takes, and now we're attacking this pawn. I'm also threatening to come here. Oh, that was a quick move. So he's thinking, at last my knight can get out. But look, bang, with check. I think it's safe, I'm doing it. And we're a pawn up. It's taken a while. It's taken 26 moves. But we're a pawn up. Okay, now he's playing quick. So my instinct says bring the king up, okay? And the point is that my bishop attacks this pawn. I could also just do this, but if he pushes forward, so king up looks a bit weird, but at this point in the game, the queens are off the board. The amount of material now has reduced. We've got a rook and a miner each, but my miner is a bishop, which can zip around the board like this. Pang, pow, pow, wow, right? Okay. All right, there's a threat. we see this. Okay, so the temptation is just to grab the pawn, and then we fall to a knight fork. So I'm thinking king d3. Yeah, that gets rid of any knight check ideas. And now he can't go there or there to defend the pawn because my rook covers both of those squares. Notice that these are some quite quick moves coming. He played that move in under 10 seconds. Well, 9.9. Wow. It just feels like he's sped up. Yeah, he took 40 odd seconds a couple of times, but he's playing on the whole pretty quick. Now there's you get no prizes for losing a game with 11 minutes on the clock. So let's say here, for example, that puts 3 attackers on the d4 pawn. 3. There's no check with the knight. We've established that. So I'm going to win me that pawn. 100%. The alternative is to kind of come and have a sniff around these 2 pawns, but either one I attack can just move forwards. So I don't see any point in that. I'm just going to do this. Simple schmimple. There you lose your knight, there you lose your knight. Whatever happens... Alright. Bishop or rook? Bishop or rook? Bishop comes with a second threat. Rook doesn't really. Bishop then. Okay, we are now 2 pawns up. This is good. 2 pawns is plenty to win chess games in many situations. Okay, I have many squares. Can't go there because of king. Can't go there because of pawn. Can't go there because of knight. So I have an option of A, B, or C. Well, E, G, and H, technically. Here, am I worried about getting hit with a knight? Not really. No. I do need to be a bit careful about getting my bishop pinned. Might be a thing. But rook here, I mean, it's not like the king can't get close. If the knight comes here, actually, that might be a thing. Then I have c3 defending the bishop. And now look, you see, we've got a 3 on. Let's do there. Okay, 3 on 2 on the. There we go. There we go. This is what we expected. Okay. Now, if I give check here, we've got king there. Then I come back though. So we have 2 attackers on here and currently only 1 defender. Now, one way out of it is pawn to c3. Another way out of it, in theory, is to trade off the exchange, but that gives away my material advantage. I ain't going to do that. So c3 looks good. Happy with that. Then if knight takes, it has to be pawn takes, because the king would be in check if it took. The alternative is this. So let's think this one through angle. We've got to be a bit quicker. Check. So check here. King goes here, I come back. King comes here, I come back. King has to go back to one of these squares. Yeah. So I'm assuming this. In fact, the king has to go back to the square where he came from, otherwise he loses the knight. So if king comes here, we immediately do that. If king goes away, king goes here is maybe an issue. Oh no, because then he's blocking the rook's view of the bishop, which is fine. So if the king goes here, I can just come back down anyway. Right, this is a check, and I can still push c3. So should I just push c3 Let's push c3 anyway. And I need to recover a few 10-second bonuses right now, because I've spent too long talking to you. Rook e7 is simply wins material, wins another pawn. Yeah, you can't block. You can't. You always got to be careful of the X-ray defense. Okay, well, no brainer there. And now we have actually this has possibly helped us slightly, because now we have a completely passed pawn, right? There's no pawns here on any of these squares that can stop my pawn. That means by logically the only way that black can stop the advance of the d pawn now, the pawn formerly known as Charlie, now Dave, is with a piece. And he's only got 2 pieces. So you can write that in stone, right? If black is going to stop the d pawn, he has to use his king or his rook. Okay, and from there that then leads to other restrictions and other logic later on down the line. So now we've got a 3 on 2 on the queen side. We have a 2 on 2 on the king side, and in the middle of the board we have a complete passer. Now I'm thinking, now rook e7. He may do this, but it's too little too late. And I'm not worried about his rook coming to these squares. This might be a thought. Okay, and now we're just going to trade off. And the reason is because we've got a centralized king, we've got a passed pawn, we've got a 3 on 2 majority here. I have 4 minutes 10 now, our time has gone up. And now let's use that time, let's use it carefully. I'm going to push b3, I'm just going to stop the king having access to this square. King currently cannot go on any of these squares. Okay, now if I push, takes, he's got his hands full, eh? If I push here, I don't know these endgame pawn patterns well enough. I know that. Okay, I'm going to push h4 because I want to de-encourageize this move. Okay, so f5, taketh. His king is just then frozen. Yeah, because his king's got to stop. Okay, if I give. How about this and then check? This. Now this pawn pushing is very dangerous because he gives me a passer, right? And the king cannot stop both pawns. This is the problem. So he cannot move the h-pawn. H-pawn is out. All right. Now I'm thinking check. Then it's no, right? So check here. He's got to go here, really. I can't push that one. Maybe I messed that one up, I don't know. because he's got opposition with the kings now. I think I'm just going to have to play a waiting move again. I do have this check. And the king goes here. I might go across and take opposition myself. So, okay. So takes, push. And then he's kind of stuck. Or do I want to keep this b3, b4 move in hand? Let's think it through. I push with check. So he can't go to any of these squares. He comes here, I come here. Then he can't go sideways anymore. He either has to push his pawn forward. Now I could do this, but if takes, no. I really don't want to desert Dave, sorry. Now if I do this and he pushes, I can come sideways and threaten to take, which ought to be winning. If I push now, he can't go there, or there. So it's either push the pawn, which is losing, or he has to retreat the king, which is probably also losing. So I think now he has to go backwards, yeah? Because the b pawn has then taken this square away, so he can't get to any of these squares, or this one, or this one. But he has to move. And now I push forward with opposition. And again, he has to move. And again, he cannot move forwards. So he's going to move to one side. All right, now, I could just push my pawn. If I push my pawn... Now, in general, if it was just these three pieces, I would have to get my king in front of the pawn. But I'm not sure I do right now. If I push here and he goes sideways, I come to here and then the pawn is free. If I push here and he goes... He can't go to these squares... Okay, let's push the pawn. I could also even just quietly slide across here, try and take this pawn out and then convert the b pawn. Alright, now my first thought is gain opposition. Gain opposition, he has to go sideways or push this, which we don't like. Here, let's say he comes there. Here he comes here, I push, he can't go back. I think we're fine. Opposition. And the weird thing is he still has one pawn move that he can make, which is a losing pawn move. It's just going to give me attacks on two fronts. If he comes here, I'm just going to move to this square and then promote the pawn. If he goes here, I just push the pawn. He can't... Now he can't go to any of these squares. So his only two legal moves are that, and both of them lose. And this, guys, is why we should all be studying endgames. Yeah, there we go. He's figured it out. He's figured it out. Good game. Good game. Very interesting one there. Yeah, King C7 was the only move, and then, like it says, King E7. Yeah, very interesting one. I'm not going to do the analysis now because I've got a lot on, but hope that was useful for you guys, particularly, I think, the ending. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon.